Warning. The podcast you are about to listen to discusses films on the basis of the craft of screenwriting. It contains spoilers. Films discussed may also contain offensive content.
In today's episode, we'll be discussing The Game, released in 1997, and Pompo the Cinephile, released in 2021.
Greetings and welcome to the very first episode of the Jay and Dave Went to Film School podcast.
Very excited.
Starring myself, your first host, Jason Platt, and
David Valencia, coming at you live, post-recorded.
in the basement of Vancouver Film School, where we just about graduated.
Just about graduated. It's going to be we're going to be moving studios. Kind of have to, because we're not going to be here anymore.
That's right. They won't let us back in.
They won't let us back in, right. Unless we actually make it big, and then they'll probably bring us back in.
Then they'll invite us back. That's right. But our cards probably won't work for a while. So we have a podcast for you, and we want to talk about our experience going to film school. We want to talk about what we feel makes good TV, movies, and animation. And I'm more of a movies guy. David is more of a...
Yeah, animation. Yeah, that's kind of the reason why I wanted to start this podcast, actually, because we were just talking about just how different we were as just film guys. Mm-hmm. You know, going to film school together, talking about what makes films different. Mostly the stuff I consume is animated, because I just love the visual storytelling aspect of it. But I always felt bad not watching live-action movies a lot. But knowing you, being the ancient person you are, that's what you consumed. Yeah.
That's right. Ancient people tend to be more into the films, although, I mean, animation has been around for a long time.
Way before.
I think it predates me.
I think it actually even predates filming because, rotoscoping and all that. I mean, that's the animation history part of it. But, there's still a lot of classic cinematography that I just don't know a lot. And, I'll watch, Steven Spielberg and stuff like that and be like, that's a pretty good movie. But I'd rather watch something animated. Disney stole my peak.
Well, and I hope to gain some unique perspectives of things that I haven't seen in animation.
And the same for me with live action.
Yeah, so it's that's one of the things that we're bringing to this podcast. Also, we are, as we've already mentioned, kind of spanning generations. How old are you?
I'm 21.
21. I am 46, and so that gives some unique perspective, I think, to film.
And for the people listening, 46 for this man is very, very well. he looks he can make the films right now. He's still very good looking.
Well, thank you.
I tell you, man, you look like 30, dude. Not a day over 30.
Thank you. And you look not a day above 20.
Thank you.
And so we've got that aspect. We've also we found out we were both men of faith. I myself being on the Protestant side of Christianity,
and Catholic,
and David being in the Catholic side. So there's a little bit of that angle too that we're bringing. And so who knows what this hodgepodge, this potpourri of angles will bring to a podcast.
Honestly, one of our episodes should probably be a Bible recap of every single movie that's covered the crucifixion of Jesus, and just be like, well, we'll have a tier list.
Yeah, or even anything biblical, Prince of Egypt.
Prince of Egypt's a good one,
which is animated.
Yeah, I could have a whole segment on VeggieTales. That'd be great.
we could do a deep dive into every VeggieTales episode,
and we just find the cinematic equivalent of it on film on your side.
That's
and just see who did it better.
That's right. Which lesson did better? Yeah, exactly. Which brought the lesson through better. We'll think about that.
Oh, that'd be a great segment.
Maybe we could work something out. I did like that VeggieTales made it into our Brooklyn Nine-Nine spec script.
That did.
Episode or writer's room episode.
Yes.
That was David's great idea to bring in a Muppet-themed Brooklyn Nine-Nine plot, with the Schmuffles. and
the Muppets lookalikes.
Yes,
completely legally distinct.
That's right, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great idea. We went with it, and I think the episode turned out pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too.
And the main character who was abducted, at the end, found out that they were actually not abducted, and they were taking a new job with a VeggieTales show.
Yeah, Fruit Fables.
Which was also legally distinct.
Right.
The Fruit Fables. But referencing the VeggieTales. So that turned out pretty fun. But before we get too much into this, why don't we do a quick bio? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so as I said, my name's David Valencia. I am a Filipino-Canadian immigrant. Came over here 2006. When I think I was like 8 years old, I think. Yeah, it was pretty chill, you know. My immigrant story is pretty much we started off in Vancouver renting houses, jumping around a lot as my dad moved jobs, and landed all the way over here to in Vancouver Film School because I just really wanted to make sure cartoons keep existing for new kids to grow up and learn with. Because that's how I ended up learning just English and just mastering that language before I came over here. So it was a byproduct, I suppose, of my parents trying to raise me right, but now I'm stuck in a job that they probably don't want me to work. They definitely want me to become a doctor, but they're totally fine as long as I told them how much a scriptwriter makes, and they're like, yeah, okay, fine.
Passed their bar.
Passed their bar. I'll tell them what I'll write a medical show. And then I can probably impress them like that. I'll be a doctor in some way.
There you go. That would be checking that box.
Yeah.
So animation, in a very real sense, kind of situated you for life in North America, is what you're saying.
Yeah, because like a lot of people like I know many people are like, oh, you know, I'm from Japan, I'm from Colombia, but like I watched SpongeBob, and that's how I learned how to do English. Like, for me, like, my parents already knew that I was coming to Canada, so they didn't want to, teach me Tagalog straight away. So, because, you know, they didn't want me, we have to learn English and also French on top of that. And, we're going to, it's gonna be hard for them. So they made me learn English straight away. But one byproduct of it is that a lot of the cartoons I watched just happened to be dubbed over in British English. Like, they didn't care. It was just any English, And, I watched Thomas the Tank Engine. And, you know, I have a minor British accent now. Like, I can't go to any of my Filipino family reunions without some people you sound very, very professional and educated. It's like, I studied in Oxford, the Oxford School of Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes.
Studying all that. Yeah.
As is often discussed on the streets of Oxford.
As often discussed on the streets of Oxford, you know?
So, really, your parents should not be surprised that you went the animation route when they basically educated you using animation.
Yeah, I mean, it was among other things, like animation, comics, video games. Yeah, my life has been pretty much just escapism, I suppose. Even more so because I'm an introvert, but, they made me the way I am, and they're surprised.
The tools you use to educate may end up influencing. I think that's a safe assumption.
Yeah. If they really wanted me to become a doctor, they should give me a medical textbook at age 2. I don't know.
That's right. They missed that opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
But we have the you that is here today, which is definitely a plus.
Yeah, thank you, dude. And then, of course, my friend Jason over here.
Yeah, I am Jason Plett. I am trained as a technical writer, and so that is definitely a writing-heavy job, but not in the creative side of things. So it's writing manuals, procedures, training material.
Yeah.
I always end up describing what it is when I tell people I'm a technical writer, because that's usually the next question is, I've never heard of that. Some people have, obviously. But it's a great job. It suits my personality quite a bit. I'm very analytical, organized. I like to structure things and explain things. But it wasn't scratching the creative itch that I had. I've always loved stories and loved movies. And so I about 7 or 8 years ago, no, maybe it's more now. I just decided to pursue screenwriting on my own, and wrote a few screenplays after like going to seminars, reading some books, and taking some evening classes, and really enjoyed it. And eventually, I felt like it was time to, if God gave me this creativity to actually put it to use, I should invest in it even more. So that's where film school came into play. So here we are.
Yeah, like I never understood that part of your life because like for me, when I knew I was going to come like an animation, I already knew I was going to go into film. So I went from creative writing, which is writing novels and short stories, to script writing. But you were technical writer, which is like, step one, plug the thing in. Step two,
Yep.
put the power button. If step two doesn't work, make sure you refer to step zero, which is refer to the other page. And if that doesn't work, call the guy
Yep.
at the store who will just read you the manual for you. Like, how did you even transition to like just like prose and like creating fictional things?
Well, I've had a vivid imagination all my life, so that's always there. The structured part of it is actually like I guess a layer above the desire to relay something else, whether it be a helpful bit of information or a story. So. And what's interesting about technical writing and screenwriting is that they are both very structured and have a format to them. So you have to, for technical writing, you have to maintain a structure and the kind of the word choice and word order that you use has to be very orderly and structured, and use a template in whatever manual you're doing. And screenplays, as we know, have a very structured format, and there's best practice for how you craft a sentence, how you write dialogue. That's a whole nother journey, as that's one of the things I had to definitely grow in here, is quality dialogue. But there's actually some similarity.
No, I got you. Like, I always thought, like, the pinnacle of technical writers were the people who made the IKEA manuals. Because, like, I always thought, like, you'd see a little tiny guy on the front cover that's holding the phone. I always thought IKEA manuals were just comic books. I remember, I loved building shelves with my dad because, like, I just got to read the IKEA manual. Yeah.
Well, there is some genius to being able to relay complex information using only visuals.
Yeah,
I mean, there is something beneficial to that, but there's something very efficient with words as well.
That is true. That is true.
And maybe blending them is the ideal. And in a sense, creating films is kind of blending them, although it ends up being visual with dialogue. So you are blending them.
Yeah. So you would be in the best position to be qualified to write the IKEA manual, the movie.
Yes. Yeah. They've asked me. I'm in talks.
You had to learn Swedish to do that, though.
No, actually. Well, I mean, it would be a plus. We'll see. We'll see if the numbers add up.
Oh, of course. Yeah. But yeah, film school is weird for us, though, coming into it. Still very, very fresh-faced. I think we got a lot out of it.
Definitely. I mean, I did. But as far as that goes, how was your film school experience?
Yeah. Because, like, Vancouver Film School, like, always was, like, kind of like... The school I went to is kind of artsy, so we already had, like, a bunch of people that went to VFS and are quite successful at it. And, like, I figured, like, if I'm going to take it kind of seriously, that would be, like, the place I was going to aim for. Because it wasn't going to be Cal Arts for me, because I can't draw as an animation guy. I'm a much better writer. But, yeah, like, coming into it, like, I already went through creative writing classes in college and high school, so I was very, very familiar with the workshop format. But script writing, like, it was a different way to write stuff in. But I was honestly kind of surprised, like, every single time I turned into a workshop, just, like, how good it was. And I don't say that as, like, I'm, like, a straight shot, hot shot. Like, I came up with low expectations for, like, myself, but, like, hearing, like, just really kind words and feedback from people, be like, this is genuinely really, really good writing, it's honestly like that feedback, instant criticism as well as compliments, very, very well for, I guess, creating me as a scriptwriter.
And are you talking, this was happening before you went to film school as part of your choice to come here, or that was also happening here when you got here?
It was definitely here, because the one thing about taking creative writing courses in like high school and like also college is you get a bunch of people that kind of have to take it as an elective. So it's a lot of people like they're only there for like to try it, and they're there to like kind of phone it in. And then so like the one people that are like really, really experienced with the story and like actually have a passion for it, there's only a few of them. But like I come here and like there's like a $70,000 entry fee to get into it. Exaggerating, of course. I'm pretty sure it's something cheaper, but like every single person here wants to do it. So everyone here is very, very supportive. And honestly, from what I've heard from the stories of our industry professional teachers, is that the industry itself is very, very supportive in terms of at least the individuals in it, the creatives wanting to help other creatives succeed. Because, it is a hard industry to get into, and I'm really happy that our class, at least our cohort, was just really, really nice in terms of just, supporting each other. Yeah. It's definitely something I couldn't have gotten if I went to like a public college where, creative writing or script writing was just offered as just another one of the courses you have to get for 3 credits.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, you're going to get a totally different class makeup in something like that. And like you say, when you come to a post-secondary school where you have to pay this much money to come and take the course, you've got people that want to be here and are generally of the nature that they can do the work, they can be focused, they can give the effort that it takes, and also recognize when other people are there for that same purpose and generally want to help you succeed. Yeah.
And I say that the experience was kind of the same for you as well, because like you're one of our older students. A lot of the people here are like in their 20s or 25s, and even industry experienced. So like I don't want to make assumptions, but you didn't feel out of place at all, right?
No, I would say it was nice that there were at least 2 others in their 40s here in our class. So if I was the only one, I would have felt more out of place. But I mean, the love for film, I think, was very unifying, and that was the bigger thing, to just feel like we're all on the same journey, and we all appreciate what makes quality film and quality writing. So I felt like, we were all had the same goal, so age didn't seem to matter.
Yeah, there you go.
So I really enjoyed the whole film school experience. It was definitely a journey of learning. There were some things I came here with that I had some strength in already, and other things, like I was mentioning, that needed work. And so for me, film school did what it was supposed to in kind of like holding that blowtorch to refine away the chaff. And I definitely grew and felt like I learned. So very thankful for that.
Yeah, I got you, dude. And I mean, like, you must have been out of school for a while.
Yeah, I hadn't been in school for quite a while. But I'm kind of a lifelong learner, so I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of YouTube watching for topics that I'm interested in, reading articles. I'm kind of always learning, so it wasn't a challenge that way.
No, I got you. You definitely must have like a Nebula subscription, right?
So Curiosity Stream?
Yeah, Curiosity Stream. That's it.
Yeah,
that's really good. I used to watch like the History Channel.
Oh yeah.
Which felt like the weirdest thing for me to do as like an 8-year-old. But like I like the YouTube stuff. Like, I'd always do scrolling and I'd just be like, oh, I'm just gonna learn about Egyptian pyramids today because why not?
Well, and I think that's something that makes a good writer too. Is writers have to have a body of knowledge to actually put into their writing from which to write from. So it probably contributed along the way for you to feel like you want to write.
I feel like, right, we should just assemble like a bunch of people, right, We go to a pub, and we'll do a trivia night, and just see how far we get with just the random knowledge we've acquired from just writing everything.
That would be interesting.
I think you could win a couple decent bucks on Jeopardy. You know, you get completely rolled, like like the $500,000 questions, but like you'd nail a couple of them.
Hopefully,
right?
I like trivia. We'll have to keep an eye out for trivia nights.
That's it.
Maybe get some people together.
You'll cover all the technical writing questions, of course, right?
I mean, I would do my best.
Yeah. But after this, once I graduate, I'm still very uncertain what's gonna happen, because like it's all about like just going through the door, see whatever's open. Like for me, like my selection is definitely just animation. Like I kind of do want to find a job maybe on a film set just to try it out. I just don't know if I had experience for it. I'm pretty sure. I think you're in the same boat as well, where you haven't had a lot of like on-set skills or experience, I should say.
Yeah, pretty much none. Just the film production experience that we were able to do for our writing for production class, which was definitely a good experience. But that's new to me too. For going forward from here, for me, it was my plan was just to write scripts and then see if I can pitch them, see if I can sell them. I guess you are probably going to try to get a job with a show. Would that be your ideal?
Yeah, I'm essentially doing what everyone here is doing, trying to get into some sort of film production, but it would be of course, animated cartoons, artists. And it was always something that I was always concerned about, trying to get into animation industry, like not being like a visual artist. Because like, how am I going to draw anything, if I'm going to be telling a visual story and I can't make visuals? That always felt like a hindrance, but I'm kind of relieved that all the teachers that I've talked to who are like, I'm an animation writer, they're not artists as well, in the sense of like, visual, moving your hand around. So I'm comfortable with at least that. And if anything, there's always like a lot of overlap between animation and comedy, so I can always just jump onto that boat as well. So I'm still up to writing anything, but that's where definitely I want to like push it to.
What was your feature in the term 3 that you wrote?
Yeah, so we all had to write a feature script as part of our term here at VFS, and I actually adapted a comic idea I had from when I was in college. It was, what's the title again? I know what it's about. It's about two girls who are best friends who end up in a very, very prestigious school. One of them is Filipino, and the other one is a very, very rich, affluent girl. Kind of the rich-poor type thing, Betty and Veronica. And they have to deal with a serial thief that's been going around stealing the objects of all the other rich kids. And they kind of form like a mystery-solving crime-fighting duo. They end up finding like a shady cabal of thieves that have been going about, and they end up they end up fighting, but they end up coming back together by the end of it. Kind of heartwarming, but I'm not too happy with the way it turned out, just because it was the first feature script that I did write, and I was barred from writing animation for the first feature script as well. So I was like,
right.
I had to.
So it's really out of your wheelhouse.
It was really out of my wheelhouse. Yeah. So it was chock full of comedy. I don't think it was full of like enough plot. But yeah, I mean, for a first script go, it was an experience writing like 90 pages. But yeah,
that would be also out of the norm for comedy animation.
Comedy animation
for
and
the
TV,
most part,
because that's where I came from. I was a TV writer as well, so.
I mean, there definitely are feature-length animated movies.
Yeah, feature-length animated movies, but they always just felt like episodes that were just longer, right? Like you could write like a 2-3-parter episode, and that's technically just a movie. But yeah.
So what was your favorite project at school?
Honestly, I think my favorite project was definitely the we had a course that was called I think, what was it called? Script collaboration or something like that, where us as writers, we're part of like VFS as a collective. Is like there's a writing campus, which is a bunch of script writers. There's an acting campus, which is all the actors, and there's a producing campus, which is where all the the people who want to become the next Martin Scorsese go. And one of our jobs was to actually collaborate on their projects to make their scripts, and it was not my most favorite script I ever wrote, but I loved the experience because it's the closest I actually got to being on set. Because I wasn't able to get into producing for writers thing, which is when we were supposed to produce things. But yeah, I wrote a comedy script for them called "A Boy and His Toys" about a suburban mom trying to impress her really like bougie white friends with a book club of Pride and Prejudice. But her teenage son, is making very weird, lewd noises in his bedroom. Turns out he's just playing D&D. The common experience, I believe, of all D&D players. Yeah, I'm sure all the parents who have like a basement role-playing thing, role-play, in that sense, two different meanings.
I mean, D&D, there's a lot of action that happens.
A lot of action.
That could lead to all sorts of sounds.
Yeah, we should probably be careful. We're going to try to keep this PG, but yes, a lot of fun was having on that set.
So that is one that was made, and is that also one that is going to be shown, like, they just sent out an email about seeing the production films?
Yeah, so I'm going to go out and see it.
Oh, so you haven't seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet, and, like, this will be the first time I'll ever see and this is still something that I'm really excited to see, is just seeing a person I've only seen in my head and put down on paper actually become real. That
would be super exciting.
Because, like, even, like, the backstage, like, the backstage photos, the behind the scenes, that's the word, of, like, the stuff they were sending to me, I was like, oh, this is happening. I was like, oh my gosh, like that's the character, that's the person, that's the name,
right.
That's her,
right.
And they made her real. I was like, that's still like really really cool to me.
That would be that. I mean, that's the dream. We all want to see, as writers, we want to see our stuff played out on screen. So that'll be awesome.
Yeah. And you, I'm guessing you had also a favorite one as well.
Well, I had a couple favorites. My feature that I wrote first, and then also did a second draft of. I feel like it turned out really good. It's called A Place of Shelter. It's about a woman who is the victim of a traumatic, violent attack in her past. And she never dealt with the trauma, so she's kind of living in kind of false confidence, and then that fear is about to catch up with her when she's caught in a dentist's office when there's an active shooter on the loose, so there's a shelter-in-place order, and she's forced to, and she's there with her daughter and a few other people in that waiting room. And they have to go through this experience, and she's not prepared for it. So it's her journey of protecting her daughter through this experience and going through this, basically her worst fear. And definitely got refined over the course of the year, both the first draft and the second draft with the workshops. Had really good instructors. And good class participation, good class comments. So I really liked that one, and I also really liked my Mandalorian episode. Were we weren't ever in the same TV class, were we?
No, I don't think so. No.
But yeah, I'm a big Star Wars fan, Mandalorian fan. So when they gave us that opportunity, I jumped at the chance to do Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And came up with a pretty good concept that people liked, and I'm really happy with that, the way that turned out too.
Hey, everyone wants to see more Baby Yoda.
That you see me as a Yoda?
No, I just said, like, everybody loves seeing Baby Yoda.
Oh, so. Seeing Baby Yoda.
Yeah,
okay.
He was always popular during my script reads of The Mandalorian.
Yeah. He's a genius addition to capture the cute factor, and it's kind of interesting to think about.
Actually, like
Yoda as a child.
I always found like there's like two different like Star Wars fans. Like, at least for the people who watch Mandalorian, it's the people who call Baby Yoda, and the people who call Baby Yoda Grogu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's kind of a differentiating line with how serious you are.
Yeah, it's like the guys who are just actually, it's not actually right. Yoda. Yoda's own species, a completely different thing.
Well, we don't really know who Grogu is.
He's not. Is he not Yoda? Like, I know he's not. Like, he doesn't grow into Yoda, but like he's not from the same species as Yoda.
Well, no, I think he is.
He is, right?
But that's what I was saying is I don't think he's necessarily Yoda. He's just from the species of
Yeah,
Yoda.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Or at least we don't know yet. He might be.
Season 4 is gonna explain that, right?
No, it was funny when someone put a list of all our class into Star Wars characters,
Right.
and they put me as Yoda. Or did you make the list?
I did make it was me. It was me and Nathan.
Okay.
The other Star Wars fan. I'm like a pseudo Star Wars fan. Like I just
Okay.
like George Lucas.
Okay.
I like but like yeah.
Who did you put as yourself?
What did I put as myself? Gee, I don't even remember. Luke Skywalker, the protagonist. No, I don't think so.
I forget.
It's probably like Wicket or something like that. Ewok. Yeah. I think this might be a good transition to go into our
our
movie show.
segment that we hopefully will continue through every episode, where we do a movie exchange. And we have done that. We've each watched a movie that the other one has presented.
Yeah.
Dave presented me with Pompo the Cinephile, an anime movie, and I presented him with The Game, psychological thriller from 1997.
Yeah. And our segment is, I'll usually be giving you an animation to watch because you haven't watched a lot of animation, and you're going to give me a live action movie to watch because I don't watch a lot of live action.
Exactly.
And we'll just see what happens from it.
Yeah. So you're going to get to hear the raw response to something that's just completely out of our regular viewing habitat.
Yeah. I mean, I'm honestly really curious what you thought about this movie because it's meant a lot to me.
Right. Well, my first thought was this could be a formative film for someone who eventually made their way into filmmaking. It totally makes sense. Like, this is a film that the plot, the whole catharsis revolves around something that usually doesn't have a glamour factor, which is filmmaking, like the actual filmmaking process from
literally script to screen,
the filming to post-production,
reshoots as well,
and reshoots.
Like I'm assuming, like if there was anybody, I really really wanted to give this film to somebody who honestly did have like production knowledge, because like I know that once they get to the scene in the movie where it's like we have to do reshoots, that is literally like no, oh my god,
that's like death.
That's death.
Yeah.
Honestly, that might be the most unrealistic part of the movie is that they got all of the original cast and crew back for a reshoot. It's just completely impromptu. But yeah, no, it was brilliant. And like this is a movie that I watched as I was making the decision to become a scriptwriter. And I think that's what solidified me.
Okay.
Because I saw myself a lot in the main character. But yeah,
that makes sense. And it was well done. To me it accurately conveyed each of those elements as far as I in my limited awareness see them as the script making elements, the directing elements, and dealing with actors, and like scene selection, camera angle selection. It conveys all of those things very realistically, and so it just gives you this taste of this world of filmmaking that we want to enter into from beginning to end, and I think through the eyes of a good protagonist. Is a good protagonist choice.
Yeah.
Someone who's not a natural director, someone who's it's
a film buff, I believe.
Well, he worked in as a production assistant, I think they call him.
Yeah.
So he did some editing, and then the producer chose him to direct for some reason, and I missed the reason why.
So he saw potential.
Okay, saw potential.
Because actually, that's probably a good question to lead into. Because this is not just any animation. This is Japanese animation. It was anime. Yeah. How did you like it as just like a visual thing?
I mean, I had seen some anime before, and so it fit what I kind of knew of that genre, and I would say I wasn't expecting there to be like an anime about filmmaking, but the elements it works. It's fun. You've got the daughter of the producer, or granddaughter.
Yeah, the granddaughter.
Pompo is the granddaughter,
Yeah,
right?
Pompo's a granddaughter, and she's a B-movie director.
Yeah,
Like,
and
her whole thing with
it fits with the anime world that this girl who looks to be about 7 years old can be a full-fledged scriptwriter and director.
Yeah.
But I can never quite gauge the age of anime characters, especially anime girls. So, do you know how old she's supposed to be?
No. She's probably an adult. Actually, no. I probably have to look that up. But yeah, I mean that's just animation logic itself.
Exactly. Right? So I mean, it's suspended disbelief especially in the genre.
Right, but still. Yeah, in terms of the animation I've seen, it's still like visually spectacular.
Yeah, and I mean, you're able to do things that you couldn't in a regular movie, like when he takes the samurai sword and they do the animation with cutting the film with the samurai sword in this montage of fantastical choreography.
I love that scene because, like, if you were to film that real, it would just be a guy at a desk for about 2 hours, and that's the movie.
And so maybe a film that glorifies screenwriting needs to be anime.
Yeah.
To add some elements. But no, it was good.
Do you give it a rating?
And, I guess I mean, if we want to bring in ratings, I mean, I've never had to think about an anime scale, but I mean.
You want to do like 1 to 5 stars, like very like straight up letterboxed?
I'd give it a 4.
Yeah, pretty good, pretty solid, dude.
Yeah. And I felt like the climax, which was him trying to like make a good movie, is more than just checking the boxes. It's for him. It was finding yourself in the story, and that's what it took. And then he, of course, had to go back and do the reshoot to do that, to accomplish that. And so it's like, in life, sometimes you have to do the hard thing to go and do what's necessary.
Yeah.
And once you realize what that hard thing is, you kind of have to buckle down and just go and do it. And so it was a good message, good climax.
Yeah, it's definitely like, it's a movie about filmmaking, but I think it's also a movie anybody could watch and still get the most out of it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And my movie,
what did you think of the game?
The game, honestly, I was actually kind of surprised by it, right? Because the whole plot of it is like you have this like rich corporate like, dirtbag, who is like everybody he's distant from his family. He actually gets a birthday gift from his brother that he doesn't really talk to that much, like once every year, and he's like, oh, I got you like this vacation package, right? It's called The Game. It's a whole like life experience type thing. It's like, oh, it's very mysterious. But he gets thrown into it, and like the game, we don't know what it is like all the time. What is part of the game? What is not part of the game? And like it turns into an action film, and that's where I started getting into it because when I do watch live action, I was like, oh, I just want big spectacle. Like that's the mostest for me. Like
animation maybe has tuned
that's probably it, right? Because like there's a lot of like oh, this is a brilliant movie, look how masterfully it's shot. It's like, it's slow, man. Like it's just talking. It's like look how they're talking, look how they're lit. It's like, oh, they're talking. Like, so I'll watch Fast and Furious like over like, I don't know, Bridge to Inisherin, because like I just want explosion instead of like emotional explosion. But that's just me. That's just my childish sense. So like once it like does go into like
raised on anime, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, what's gonna happen, dude? But yeah, so once it does go into the action stuff, like because like I do like tune into it, it's like, okay, so is this real? Is this not? Like my brain's going at it. I'm like, yeah, like throughout the whole thing, I will say like, we probably have to put like a spoiler warning at the beginning of this episode for like
probably, but I think we'll put the warning on.
Yeah, we'll put the warning at the beginning
somehow,
right? But like throughout the whole thing, I was like, this is going to be revealed, like, like, there are moments in this thing, like, where the characters think, like, is this part of the game? Is this not part of the game? I'm like, this is all part of the game. There's, like, no way none of this is not part of the game, right? So, like, once it does get to the very end, and they have, like, the twist things, like, oh, was it really part of the game? Did he really do that? I was like, no, there's no way. But, like, then it wraps up very nicely. It's like, yeah, it was the game. Congratulations. You were playing it all along. You won.
So it definitely got you. Like, it
like, it got me emotionally. Like, it didn't get me with a twist. Like, I knew everything was part of the game. So, like, I knew, like, all this was going to be, like, oh.
Even that scene when he comes out with the bottle and he gets shot.
I knew.
I don't know, really.
I'm a mile away. Because, like she was an actor, and she's still an actor. And I was like, oh, she's really hamming it up. I was like, oh, now he's about to jump off the building now. And it's like, first of all, right? They planned that thing to happen, right? They planned for him to jump, right? And they expect him to jump off that one spot, right? If this went any other direction, then I feel like the plan was bad from the very beginning. A lot of things had to go right.
The concept that we learn about suspended disbelief definitely applies to the game.
Yes, I think it does, right? Because like once they get to the end, it's like, how much does this really cost? And I'm kind of happy that they didn't show an actual number, because I feel like there would be hundreds of videos be like, okay, so taxi jump out of a thing, that's you got to do an insurance and to close the thing, that's like 70 grand already, right? The whole plot of this thing is like, okay, like there was a whole bit of it where it's like, oh, I'm worried that the game is actually like these guys actually stealing money from me, like it's a scam, like he's siphoned everything. By playing the game, he's already lost at least $12 billion.
Well, his brother who bought it for him.
Yeah, but he has to split it.
Yeah.
What is the brother doing? Like the main protagonist is like an investment banker, and this guy is like just a.
This is what the rich do for fun.
Yeah. The point is, he definitely got scammed at the very least. If we're really thinking about this.
But he also came away changed.
He came away changed, right? We have the happy ending at the end, and it's like. Then that's the other part of it is like I was like considering, it's like this happens after he jumps off a building and he believes he kills his brother, and he's like, oh, okay.
we also have the suspended disbelief with what causes personal change, but
right. I feel at that point the correct reaction would be to at least faint. The second correct reaction would be just to go, what the, and to at least punch, like slap the brother. Like, there's no way.
I don't know. There comes a point where it's like, it's so over the top. Like, would a punch even, like, accomplish what you hope?
I just feel like that guy at least would suffer at least some physical trauma after that moment for at least a day.
I would think so. I would think there's probably, with as much healing as you get, you're probably taking on additional trauma.
Yeah, that's he solved one problem by introducing another problem.
That's right.
I'll say that. But maybe. Overall, I like my gauge of like movies is like, was it entertaining? And it was very much entertaining. Was the story good? If we like just ignore like the suspense of disbelief, we just get that in there. I think it was definitely like, you know, if you really were to like sit there and kind of like turn your brain off, be like, is this the game or is this not the game? I think they put in like a lot of moments in there where you really do question yourself. I guess I'm just too smart for that.
Maybe you're one of the audience they couldn't pull it over.
And then was it visually spectacular? I thought the cinematography was actually pretty good for that movie in terms of like the lighting and the shots and the placement and stuff and the set building. So overall, I also think that was a 4 out of 5 stars movie.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was just gonna look to see who
directed it.
Who directed it, because it is.
I think it was a big name, wasn't
it? David Fincher.
David Fincher, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he did do a cameo of himself as the guy who like hands them the bill at the end of the movie.
Oh, really?
He stares directly in the camera. I don't know because I don't know what David Fincher looked like.
I don't know either.
But that felt like a director cameo.
That could have been.
But yeah. I think that's a pretty good place to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think so. We're not sure how long these will be, whether they'll be more of like an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, if it does go into the hour, that's probably my fault. It's just rambling on and on. I just quip. I quip, dude. Really.
And we're also looking to bring on some guests eventually.
Yeah, other people we've went to school with.
Yeah. I think that it'll be fun. And if nothing else, that will maybe get us an audience of our classmates.
Yeah.
And that maybe that's it. Maybe that's all we'll ever get.
I mean, regardless, if we get our audience of classmates or not, people listening to this are amazing.
Yes. You are our beloved fans, who are listening to this right now.
Yeah. So thank you for listening.
Yes, Thank you. And we enjoyed this. Hopefully you did too. And hopefully we'll be able to bring you another one shortly.
Yeah, once we move studios.
Yes, that's right. All right, well then, Jay and Dave signing off.
Mm-hmm. That's a wrap. Special thanks to Niranj, who made the intro and outro music for this podcast. You can find him on Instagram at his handle @NiranjD. That is @NIRANJD on Instagram.